Buckle your seatbelts, ladies and gentlemen. This analysis of top arena players is going to be unlike any you have ever seen before. I am going to dig deep into the numbers of the top players in the squad arena in my shard and blow your mind with the data analysis I did. Sit tight. Okay, so here's how I conducted my analysis. I looked at every single character from the top 20 players who had, at some point over a 12-hour period, a top 15 ranking in the squad arena in my shard. I then double-checked to make sure this week that those were still top players. I compared the trends that I saw there to certain data that were on swgoh.gg, and then I dug deeper into their mods. I produced a massive spreadsheet, tons of data analysis, graphs, the works. So first, I want to talk about who they're using. Who are the top 20 players, at least in my shard, using? Who's the meta? So I'm going to break them down. They're using 18 different characters, and I'm going to rank them here from least used to most used. At the bottom is kind of a weird fluke team, kind of gimmicky. It's Biggs and Wedge. One person is using Biggs and Wedge on their team, so they're tied for 17th. Coming up next, we have a troop of light side characters: Enfys Nest, Rex, Commander Luke Skywalker, and Raid Han Solo. They're tied for 13th. Two different teams used these characters. Next, we've got our first dark side entries, tied for 11th, Mother Talzin and Wampa, with 3 appearances in the top 20. At number 10, Darth Vader, with 4 teams in the top 20. Next, the dynamic duo, Jedi Training Rey and BB-8, each used 5 times out of the top 20 teams. Tied for 5th, it's a 3-way tie between General Kenobi, R2-D2, and Darth Traya. They were used on 6 out of the 20 top arena teams. Next, we have Emperor Palpatine in 4th place, used on a whopping 12 out of the 20 top arena teams. We're really picking up here. Tied for 2nd, Darth Nihilus and Darth Sion. That rounds out the Sith Triumvirate. They were each used 13 times across the 20 top arena teams. And number 1, the uber flexible Grand Admiral Thrawn, used on 75%. That's 15 out of the top 20 squad arena teams. Now, when I double checked, that Biggs and Wedge team, it slipped out of this top 20, and you'll never guess what 2 other characters just replaced them in the last couple of days in a top squad arena team. Darth Maul and Sith Assassin. Darth Maul used to be the meta. He dominated the squad arena for a short time. The 2 of them are on a team together with Darth Traya, Darth Sion, and Darth Nihilus, the Sith Triumvirate. So fascinating to see that team there. It's been hanging tough there for a few days. And you know what? That just makes this top 20 even darker. It's fair to say there's an imbalance in the force in the squad arena. 71 out of the top 100 characters used in my shard are dark side characters. I'm betting there's a fairly similar trend going on in your squad arena shard as well. Now, some of these characters don't match up with what's on swgoh.gg. So if you're not familiar with that site, it compiles a lot of data from registered users about the characters they have, the mods they have equipped, all sorts of guild statistics. It's a great site, but they have a list there of who is used in top squad arena teams. And there's some interesting differences between my shard and the average of the shards of those registered on swgoh.gg. Now, I believe that my shard is a little bit ahead of the average shard. I've been playing for, over 2.5 years, since 2015, and I've been on the same shard, so it's a pretty old, mature shard. And those tend to be a little bit more advanced. Maybe the newer shards that were created more recently have a lot more characters that aren't quite ahead of the curve. So I don't think I have the most advanced shard, but it's pretty predictive of where things are going in the game generally. So what I did was look at discrepancies here, and whenever I saw a character that was represented a lot less in my shard than on swgoh.gg, that tells me that that character is on the decline. If that's true, let's see who's on the decline. So let's start with characters that are a little underrepresented in my shard. So we start with Grand Admiral Thrawn. Believe it or not, I believe his top spot is slipping a little bit. It's still pretty solid, but I don't think he's as dominant as he was. He's starting to lose spots on some teams here and there. Another one who's starting to lose spots here and there is General Kenobi. He's still going strong. He's still tied for 5th place, but I'm seeing him a little bit less on my shard than the average shard. Likewise, Rex. Rex has been hanging tough, but those combination Rex teams are starting to slip out of the top 10 and top 20. They're still very well represented beyond that, but there's only 2 Rexes in the top 20 right now in my shard. Now let's move on to ones where the gap is a bit bigger. So Han Solo, you could see Han Solo's on a lot more teams on your average shard, but he's really slipped out of teams in my shard. The other person who's seen a bit of a drop actually is Emperor Palpatine, but he's still in really good shape at 60% of teams. Next up, we have Commander Luke Skywalker. He's in a lot of top arena teams in other shards. He's never on top in my shard, and he keeps disappearing. I'm crestfallen about this because I have a Commander Luke Skywalker team because I'm free to play. I don't have all the top meta characters right now. It's tough for me to poke into the top 20, although I do every now and then. Although I'm not on this list because I'm not there consistently. But yeah, Commander Luke Skywalker, he's just disappearing pretty quickly from top shard arena teams. Still a great character, just not on top. Now there's one other character who is really slipping, and that's Darth Vader. Darth Vader's on the majority of the top teams in arenas registered on swgoh.gg. He's only on 4 of the top 20 in mine, and he's never on the number 1 lately. So Darth Vader is kind of the biggest loser lately, and I'm predicting that in a lot of other shards, you're going to see some of these same characters start to slip or slip precipitously if they haven't already. Now, the next thing I looked at were the speed mods on these characters. All of the top players put mods on their characters that give them huge speed boosts. And I wanted to know exactly how much speed are they giving these characters. So here's what I found. This is the distribution of speed secondaries that they have in the 5 out of the 6 gear slots that give you a secondary speed bonus. And you can see some of them, a very small number, don't give any speed bonus. Some of them have speed secondaries as high as 20 something. But you'll see the vast majority of them, over 7 out of 10, are in this cluster between +9 and +15. And the average speed secondary that these top players are equipping is 12.652. Now, this is basically what their speed mod bonuses look like. In that top right corner, the arrow, it's called the receiver mod, that has a speed primary, and you could always get that with the 5-dot mod to +30 guaranteed if it's the primary. Every single player has every single character equipped with a +30 primary in that slot. And then you can see they have like a +12 or +13 in the other slots on average. That means that these top players from their mods are getting over 90 extra speed on each of their arena characters. That's a lot. But there's another bump that they're getting as well, because about 3 out of 5 of the characters on these teams, 61 out of 100 of them, also have a speed set bonus. Now, how that works is you get 10% extra on top of your character's base speed. It has nothing to do with your mods or their speed. It doesn't affect those, contrary to popular belief. So if you have a character that has a 100 base speed and you equip 4 speed set bonus mods, you get plus 10. If your character has a base speed of 150, they get plus 15. Now, again, 39 of these characters aren't getting any such bonus. The other 61 are getting an average of another 13.58 speed on their characters. When you put everybody together, the total speed increase on average, that is, the average speed increase for all 100 top arena characters in my shard, turns out to be over 101. That is a nearly 75% speed increase from those characters' base speed. They go from about 136 or 137, and they add another over 101 to that. That is incredible. It's freaking bananas. This is why these teams are on top. I said it in my last video about this game. Speed mods win this game. And if you're in the arena and you're going, oh my god, I'm fighting these teams, it seems like I never get a turn, it's because this is what the top players do. This is what everybody does. You may not have these speeds, but if you want to be better than the next players, you not only need the best characters, you need them sped up. 75% increase in speed is nothing to shake a stick at, man. It is crazy. And now you know what the numbers look like. I don't know if this is what the mods are like in your shard. Maybe they're a little faster, maybe they're a little slower at the top. It really doesn't matter unless you're at the top, in which case you could look for yourself. But I think the trend holds even if you're not at the top. This just underscores how important speed is. And if you were curious about what big whales and what the top players' speed increases look like, well, now you have a good sense of what it's like at the top. Now, I asked one other question of myself after I compiled all this data, and it was, are they putting their best mods on certain characters? So if they've got a +8, a +11s, +16s, and +21s, are they stacking the super fast mods all together on some characters? Are they spreading them out evenly? What are they doing? So I did yet more analysis, and this is what I found. This is sorted by the speed bonus that is given on these characters. And you could see Wampa is given the least amount of speed on average, and you could see Enfys and Sith Assassin are given the most on average. Now there's some small sample sizes here. There's only one Sith Assassin. There's only 2 Enfys nests. There's only 2 CLSs, 2 Han Solos. You saw the rankings earlier, but there are definitely some differences here. Nobody is making their Wampa super fast, and everybody is putting some pretty good speed on their Rex, for example. And that makes sense to some extent, because I think what people are doing here is they're speeding up the characters they want to go first. And not everybody's agreeing on that. You could see some people really want their Nihilist to go first because they want to reduce the cooldowns on their enemies. Others are like, nah, it's more important for someone else to go first. Whereas pretty much everybody wants their Rex to go first because his sole purpose is to get that tenacity up. Likewise, everybody's putting a lot of speed on their Thrawn, but you could still see a lot of difference here. I mean, the Nihilist spread, the Palpatine spread, the General Kenobi spread, the Traya spread, the Thrawn spread. There's a lot of variety in here. You would expect maybe they've all converged on a similar mod layout. They have not. So there's a lot of variety here and no clear trends, other than they seem to have different opinions on whom they want to go first in a battle. So speed wins, but you have to think about which character or characters you want to go first. Is it critical that you fracture someone? Is it critical you reduce cooldowns? Is it critical you get tenacity up? Is it critical you get a taunt going? Is it critical you get a speed boost going? whatever debuffs or buffs you want to inflict first in a battle. That's whom you're going to put your best, fastest speed mods on. But frankly, there doesn't seem to be a clear answer from the top players on who that should be. So it's really up to you to think about whom you're going against. Think about the teams that you're fighting the most, and think about which of your characters is most effective against those teams. And I would say just do that. You're not going to find an answer here by looking at the top players. But one thing still is clear, they're all freaking fast at the top of the arena. So whomever you put it on, get some darn speed mods, get them on your characters, and you will rack up more crystals sooner in the squad arena. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That is why they call me phaserbrain, because I sliced right through these data to get to the truth about what characters are at the top of the squad arena and how they're being modded for success. If you appreciate all the hard work, and it was many hours of gathering tedious data, inputting it into a spreadsheet, calculating a whole bunch of stuff, making graphs, putting slides together, producing this video. This is one of the most intensive videos I've ever made, but I did it for us so that we would know exactly what it's like at the top of a competitive arena shard and why they're successful and what characters are on the rise and what characters are on the way out. And not just because I think so, but because the numbers provide evidence of it. So if you appreciate that I've provided some real evidence here today to substantiate the claims that I've made, and I worked really hard to do so, I would love it if you would like this video. I would super love it if you would subscribe to my channel so that you get more of these awesome analyses. And if you want to put in a comment, I would love that too. I read all my comments and respond to them. I'd really appreciate engaging with you. I kind of want to know what your arena shard is like. What's it like at the top there? Are they this fast? Are they slower? Are there different characters there? What do you think? Are you at the top? Are you trying to get to the top? Tell me what you think. Tell me what the value of this video. Tell me anything that's on your mind in reaction to this video. I want to hear from you. And thanks again for watching. This is Nick, aka phaserbrain, and I will see you around the galaxy.